How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our latest episode. The intro for this episode got a little messed up with some technical difficulties, so kind of reshooting it for you here. But we're going to be talking about something we're really excited about. We have a new report card resource we're going to be using in the gym. The main goal of this report card is just to help you see, where do you stack up in the various kind of pillars of health right now. Mobility, strength and power, conditioning, nutrition, sleep. And then give you goals to shoot for, right? So we're gonna kind of cut to the episode. We'll be right in the middle of the intro that Peter and I originally filmed. And then today we'll be diving into the strength and power section specifically. But just wanted to give you this little redo on the intro so you're not confused when we're just right in the middle of Peter talking. So enjoy.
Very clear, simple objectives, and then it's easy to write programs and design in that direction. And then other clients are like, I don't know, I just want to keep showing up. What do you want to aspire to be? I don't know, So that's where this report card thing came from, is just to provide some direction, not just necessarily in the gym, but things that we can do outside the gym to just allow us to thrive.
Sounds good to me. I think a lot of people, just kind of don't really know what's possible or where they stack up now, like where would it make sense for me to go next. So hopefully this can help you with that. So our objectives for the day, again, introduce this new report card, talk a little bit more about it, and then specifically we're going to dig into the strength and power benchmarks on the report card today. We're going to do a few of these talks because there's a lot of content on this report card, and kind of a one-size-fits-all to kind of cover a lot of different areas of health. So today we'll kind of zoom in on one area, that being strength and power. So, what is the intent of the report card? Again, a helpful goal-setting tool. Let's do a quick review of our three different types of goals, stealing from James Clear's Atomic Habits. Outcome goals. Outcome goals provide direction. What's an outcome goal you've had recently, Peter?
I would like to be able to jump again, and kind of a minimum benchmark for me is around 30 inches.
Okay.
Nowhere near my best, but it's somewhere that I know my body is doing relatively well when I can do that.
Okay, Peter wants to jump 30 inches. That gives him direction, that gives him something to shoot for, right? A process goal, it could also be called like an action item. That provides the plan. How are we going to get there? Right, so for Peter, that might be, designing a program and executing that really well and making sure he sleeps well, so he's feeling good enough to get after it, right? Kind of various things that will lead him towards that outcome goal. And then the deeper level, the identity goal. Who are you and who do you want to become, right? So all of these goals have value, right? Maybe here, what's your identity goal? Why do you want to jump 30 inches? Well,
I don't want to be an old man that can't move anymore.
All right. Yeah.
And get beat by my son.
He's better than his son. Those are his identities. Right. Okay, so the report card here, these all have value. The report card is mainly going to give you a lot of possible outcome goals, as well as in certain categories, kind of some process goals, some habits we'd like you to have that will lead towards better outcomes. So we're just going to focus mainly on those top two sections. We still want you to have a good, strong identity goal for why you're even trying to do this report card. I don't want your identity to be, I like checking boxes. Your identity should be, I want to be healthier, I want to thrive, I'm an athlete, whatever that might be for you. The report card can also be a way to celebrate and share milestones along your health journey. Hey, I broad jumped my height and I'm 55. That's awesome. Let me share that with my family. And then another benefit of the report card, hopefully, is a way to ensure we don't miss low-hanging fruit. That we're not excelling in one area, but really have room for improvement in another. Even if it is of interest to you to excel in one area, that's great. Let's just make sure we're at least kind of covering our basics in the other areas as well. I've had clients who I've had for a long time, and I just assumed they were doing good in one of their at-home habits until I checked in and, oh man, you weren't getting enough protein? Oh shoot, we could have resolved this a long time ago. And this can be a way to kind of just make sure that happens less often.
Yeah, and the goal with this, again, is for your average person. We're not looking for somebody that's trying to compete in something elite. Say powerlifting is a great example, especially from this guy's history. So things were so focused on creating a lot of stability that he lost probably a lot of mobility in the process. But because of what he wanted to achieve, what his outcome goal was and his identity, it was something that he was willing to sacrifice for the time being. But now he's like, it's no longer there. I want it back and more.
Yeah, cool. All right, so moving on, here is what that report card looks like. And don't squint and try to read it all right now. We're just giving you a little visual, right? So we have 5 main pillars, 5 main areas we're going to focus on. Mobility, moving well. Strength and power, producing force, what we're going to zoom into today. Conditioning, having a good, healthy engine. your nutritional habits, and then your sleep and recovery habits. And then in all those categories, we have a good, great, and elite set of benchmarks to shoot for, right? So good is kind of referring to, like, hey, this is really solid. Like, we'd love everyone in the gym to be able to hit everything on the left side of the sheet here, right? And that doesn't mean that if you're not hitting those things, you're bad, right? It's all the spectrum, right? What matters is just that you're working towards being better. But good is a level that we'd love everyone in our gym to get to, and that's not the case right now because, hey, people are all at different points in their journey, and that's totally okay. But that's something that we would love to get people to.
And a way I like to view this too is good is like maybe you're in the top 25% of your population for your age, for where you're at, and people that have been training with us for 2, 3, 4 years. Most people should be able to hit the majority of these benchmarks, you know, barring a few other things. And then great is now we're kind of in our top 10%. Elite, now we're the top like 2%. And that's a very elite club, but these people excel in these areas and they are not the majority at all.
Yeah. So yeah, the goal is not that you check off every single box on the sheet. There's boxes I'm not checking. I'm sure there's boxes Peter's not checking on this sheet yet. Hey, but something to work towards, right? On this sheet, we want to keep it fairly simple, not too wordy. So the back of the report card will be more information dense with more information on, hey, what are the strength and power benchmarks? Hey, what is that conditioning protocol we're talking about here? What are some descriptions for some of these mobility tests? So we're flipping over to the back of the sheet here as we zoom in on the strength and power numbers, and that's, again, our main focus of the day. So starting with power. Right. We're going to have some different patterns we're going to talk about and then have that good, great, and elite marker for those various patterns. Right. So first one, let's talk about a broad jump. A broad jump, again, is I'm getting tall, rip down, explode forward, and cover as much distance as I possibly can. A great kind of simple metric that's easy to assess, whether I'm at home with a tape measure or whether I'm in a high-performance facility, and has a lot of carryover to just being a good indicator of how explosive you are, right? So our good, great, and elite metrics here will all have a female and a male number in the strength and power section, just because males proportionally have more muscle mass relative to their body weight. So it's going to be more even if we separate those a little bit. So for our good marker, we have a female jumping 0.9 times their height and a male jumping their height. For our great, we have 1.1 for females, 1.25 for males. Elite, 1.3 for females, 1.5 for males. We won't read every single number out here to you, but it's going to give you an idea, right? Peter, what's your best all-time broad jump?
My best all-time was 10.3 when I was competing in bobsled, and I've never touched that number again, but I was super pumped. And yeah, and if we do the math, what is that, like 1.7
or something?
7.5, something like
Peter
that.
could jump really far. Peter was really dang explosive. I've never touched elite here. I've never touched 1.5. I've knocked on the door, but I don't think it'll happen for me. I'll do my best, but different people will excel at different things. So we're just going to give you a little bit of an idea.
And to clarify, this is on the sheet it says prime. So this is when you're mid 20s to 30s, somewhere in there, when you are your most explosive. That's where we came up with these numbers. And later you'll see is as you start to age, where are you at? How should you adjust? Because you still should be striving to improve or maintain and not let, Father Time, take its pull back on you so you can keep trying to get better.
Well, let's do that right now. So our next one is, hey, what's a good broad jump longevity goal? Because all things attenuate a little bit with aging, especially in the absence of training, but power is the thing that declines the fastest. So even if you are training well, realistically, your jump numbers are going to decrease in your 60s versus compared to your 20s, right? So our broad jump longevity goal, hey, a really good goal would be able to jump your height until you're 45. A great would be 55, elite would be 65. The oldest client I have right now who can still jump their height is 67, so they're killing it, right? So this is just kind of another lens to look through. If you're like, I'm already 55, I'm not going to be able to hit 1.5 times my height anymore. That's totally okay. Let's track down this goal. And then one other power metric we're going to put on the screen here is a counter movement jump. So just getting tall, rip down, explode up into the air. Again, looking for people in their prime, that kind of 20 to 30 window, people Peter talked about a second ago, and specifically measuring it with the output device that we have in the gym, which will measure it a little bit differently than if you're doing a Vertec where you jump up and whack the sticks like at the NBA Combine, but just to be consistent with what most people in our gym will be using. We have 14 inches for females and 20 inches for males for our good, 19 and 25 inches for great, and 24 and 30 inches for elite.
And if you're jumping in reach doing one of those, like Kyle mentioned at the combine test, you could take these numbers and up them around 20%. Don't compare, one number to the other. Think apples to oranges. These numbers are very different. Here at Prevail, when we first launched the output, some people felt very down on themselves because their numbers were the lowest they've ever seen, some by a lot. And it's due to this discrepancy with how things are tested and measured.
Yeah. Cool. And then some other power things you could assess, right? Some other potential KPIs, key performance indicators. Sprint times, if you're a field or court sport athlete who cares about their top speed. Your RSI is a measure of your reactivity, kind of how bouncy you are, how much elasticity you have in your tendons and connective tissue. There's a test on the output called the 10-5 test that would measure that. We also have the Kaisers, where we can do explosive pull downs and rotation and other things that measure how much power you produce. So really, the world is your oyster, and it's all about just competing with yourself and trying to get better over time. This is probably the hardest section to really have fair, good, great elites, because there is a large individual variance here. So don't get too hung up on where you stack up on the three we mentioned. They were just to give you an idea. Right.
Yeah. And then we also pick these because they're fairly easy to measure. You don't need a lot of special equipment. And back in the day, some people put chalk on the wall and they jump up and touch and measure the distance between your 2 finger chalk marks. That would be a simple one that you could do on the wall. And then same thing, tape measure on the field, and you jump. You measure from the front of your toes and then where your back heel lands and what's the difference there. That's where that broad jump stuff is. So simple, easy. See, those are things that can require a lot more. But if these are things that excite you and you want to know more, let's have at it.
Totally. And then some other kind of longevity goals for power would just be like, how long can you do certain things? Like, how long can you sprint? Most people probably haven't sprinted since they played in organized sports. Don't run out and do that if you haven't done that in 2 decades. It's pretty intense, right? But being able to do that for a long time is really valuable. How long can you hop on one leg? Do you have the strength and elasticity in your ankles and feet to be able to do that? Or even on 2 legs? How long can you jump, period? So just being able to express power in some form, wherever you're at on the spectrum of that is valuable. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, so moving on from power, let's go to some strength metrics. Okay, we're going to go through a handful of different patterns here with our good, great, and elite metrics. So I'll start off with the deadlift. Okay, how much can I pick up off the floor? Our good metric is, can you do that for 5 reps with your body weight? Okay, great. We're ratcheting it up further. 1.4 for females, 1.5 for males times your body weight. And elite, 1.8 and 2 times your body weight, double body weight. Okay, so the deadlift body weight for a comfortable set of 5 reps is one of my favorite markers for people to get to. It's just one of the simplest metrics of your strength, one of the simplest exercises there is conceptually. Just, can I pick that thing up? So I always love when people can pick up themselves. I think that's a great marker.
And something that every single person that lives on this earth has done this a lot in some sort of way. You're helping somebody pick up a couch, moving a fridge, moving a cabinet. There's so many things that require you to be strong, be stable, pick it up, move. So that's why this is one of our fundamental things. If you want to use a barbell, if you want to use a trap bar, we don't really care too much here. Find the pattern that kind of works well for you. I think it's valuable to train both based on how your body is built. And then as we go through this, we're going to just give you some numbers for an example. So we're going to use our 180-pound Tommy. Will be our buddy here. So, so deadlift body weight would be 180 pounds. And now if he wanted to be great, that'd be 1.5, so that'd be 270 pounds. If he wanted to be considered elite, that would be more 360. And again, if you're an elite deadlifter, these numbers are garbage. But again, that's not the population we're talking to.
Yeah. So Tommy, man, went from 180 to 360. Man, he's been killing it. All right, let's see how Tommy's journey continues here with the squat. All right, so again, another one of our classic fundamental patterns. For our good metric, we're talking about taking half your body weight with a goblet or kind of a 2 kettlebell squat, something where you're holding a big bulky load out in front of your body. Can I do half my body weight for 5 reps? Awesome marker to hit that has a lot of, not just the lower body strength, but the upper body strength, the stability to hold on to that. Going into the great section, looking at 0.8 or 1 times your body weight with a front squat or a Zercher squat. So a barbell, a little easier to hold, allows you to do a little bit more as you get stronger. Or elite, going to 1.25 or 1.5 times your body weight. So we stuck with kind of anterior loaded barbell patterns, the front squat bar on the shoulders, Zercher squat bar in the elbows. It's just patterns that most people excel with. They're a little lower barrier to entry, a little lower injury risk because the absolute load is a little less than a barbell on your back. Doesn't mean the back squat's a bad pattern, but for the bulk of the people in the gym, these are patterns we use more frequently.
Yeah, and just, a little less variables. Back squat, there's so many different styles and different ways to do it in depth, and we just wanted to keep it simple, like I said, anterior loaded on all of these. Yeah. And then, again, for the squat, male, female, doing half your body weight is just a great thing to do. Again, just allows you to be more successful in this world. So, Tommy.
Came into the gym, put in some time, was here for maybe 6 months to a year or so, and then he hit his 90-pound goblet squat, or 2 purple kettlebells would be about 90 pounds. Awesome job, Tommy. Mm-hmm. Love it. Okay. Then he kept it going. He got up to doing a front squat with 180 on the bar. Love it. And then he kept it going. He got to doing a 270-pound front squat for 5 reps. That is no joke. Tommy is killing it. Tommy's been here for a long time. Consistency has paid off, right? So again, Those are big jumps, but again, these aren't something that you're going to get from one 90-day check into the next. This is kind of over a lifetime of training. Moving on, our last lower body pattern we're going to touch on is a rear foot elevated split squat. We're going to have one pattern that talks about unilateral strength on one leg at a time, because there's a balance and stability component to that. It's also an awesome pattern to really load your lower body without as much load on the rest of your body, so we love to see that too. So rear foot elevated split squat, just a good classic pattern. For 5 reps here, our good metric would be doing either a third of your body weight for females or half your body weight for males in total added load. So the combined weight of your 2 dumbbells or kettlebells is frequently how we're loading this. Great would be half for females, 0.75 body weight for males, and elite 0.75 for females, and 1 times your body weight for males. So again.
Yeah, so Tommy would be, for being good, he'd have 2 45-pound dumbbells in his hands and do, again, 5 reps, a little break, go to the other side. For that great marker, he'd be at 70-pound dumbbells in each hand, and then for that elite would be 90-pound dumbbells in each hand. So there's a lot of grip, there's a lot of postural work, there's a lot of carryover in this pattern that you'll see in the other ones. And the nice thing too, if I've had somebody split squat, left and right, 1 times their body weight, and then I have them front squat, they're almost going to always be at that elite or above right from the get-go, because there's so much parallel, so much correlation there. People who've had injury and back stuff like myself, sometimes I find I can load my split squats a lot heavier and feel a lot safer, and I don't go into a pattern that I've been vulnerable to in the past.
Yeah. Well, man, Tommy's killing it. Tommy's going to be pretty sore tomorrow if he's doing all this in the same day. All right, so let's move on to some upper body patterns. Okay, let's talk about the push-up. For the push-up, we're looking at a 3-rep test here. Push-up is the one we feel safer with people going to a little lower repetition once they're good at the pattern. Our good level for females is going to be able to do 3 good bodyweight push-ups from the floor with perfect technique. And for males, doing that with about 20% added load. We move to great, we'll go 20% females, 40% males, and elite, 40% females, 60% males. And again, we could have picked a lot of different patterns here, but Peter, why did we pick a push-up over a bench press as one of our key kind of pressing strength patterns?
I'd say it allows you to create a lot more scap stability, shoulder stability, and then having the torso stability to be able to maintain that weight and be able to move as one unit. And then it allows the shoulder blades to move on the rib cage, so they're not fixed. Again, in real life, shoulder blades should be moving, coming forward, elevating upward, coming back, as opposed to this being fixed like you would in a bench press. Bench press, great pattern, especially when you understand how to do it well, and it's a very good full body pattern. But a push-up is something that's accessible to anybody at any time, because you got your body weight and you can throw a little something on your back.
Yeah, I just like to say too that I kind of see a little bit more from a push-up. If you can do these push-up markers, you're probably a pretty good bench presser too.
Yeah, 100%.
But that doesn't necessarily go the other way around.
100%.
But again, just love seeing people hit these various milestones. Getting females to their first bodyweight push-ups from the floor always fires me up big time. And if they can go further than that, awesome. So.
And then we usually will take a plate like a bumper plate, like a 45-pound. They're all roughly that same diameter, and we'll put it kind of from the base of your hips to the base of your shoulder blades. So it's resting there. So it allows your shoulder blades to move freely without that weight getting in the way. So our Tommy in this, for instance, would be a 35-pound plate. Then he might be 70 pounds. So he might have a plate on his back with a dumbbell on top of that, and then working up to where he can do 110 pounds on his back.
Oh, man. Go Tommy. All right. Pull-ups. Okay, so again, looking at a 3-rep pull-up test here. For our good metric, we like to see females be able just to get to the top, stabilize and control their way down. It's like a nice slow 10-second lower would be awesome. For males, we want to see you be able to knock out some clean bodyweight reps. Moving on to our great section, if females are hitting bodyweight reps, awesome. Males hitting reps with about 20% added body weight load, and then females for elite, 20% added load, males 40% added load would be some really impressive markers to do with full range of motion, pristine technique.
And grip, and again, what should I do this? To us, it's like, I don't care. Just focus on what allows you to move well, pain-free, have full range. Most people generally find a neutral grip probably feels the best, somewhere neutral shoulder width grip. So our Tommy here, body weight, as we said, nanging out 3 reps for good. Then he moves up to hanging a 35-pound plate from his waist. And then for elite, he's pulling 70 pounds that's hanging from it. So again, allows us to have something to aim for, shoot for, and put us into that elite or that top 2% in the population.
Yeah. And then one thing I'll say about pull-ups is that it's always a little arbitrary when you hit these markers compared to some of the other lifts, like the deadlifts. Like if you picked it up, you picked it up. There's a better technique to do it, but it's not very arbitrary whether you did it or not. A pull-up is hard at the top of the movement, so it's always a little unclear. Did that one count or not? So don't get too hung up on that. Just do it with good technique. Get stronger. That's the main thing, right? Just keep getting strong. Moving on to another pressing pattern. We're going to do some vertical pressing. We'll talk about a 1-arm overhead press. So looking at 15 to 20% female male for good, 20 to 25% female to male for great, and 25 to 33% female to male for elite, right? So just again, can I stand, keep my torso nice and stiff, have that dumbbell outside my shoulder, and press and reach all the way up overhead?
I was gonna say, this is a great kind of predictor lift too. Like if people can do these one arm presses overhead, most of the time that push up is right there, because so many people prioritize what does my pecs look like when I'm got my shirt off, I'm looking in a mirror. They don't necessarily focus so much on that going overhead. And going overhead also is, when we get to the later section, requires a good amount of mobility that a lot of people lose as they age. So that's why a lot of times when people don't know where to start, this is almost my favorite one to go, because people are generally very deficient at this, even if they can hit some of the other numbers.
Yeah.
So our Tommy here, he would be pressing 35 pounds, in each hand for 5 reps, then 45 pounds in each hand, and then working up to 60. And there's so much good torso stability that you get because you're offset loaded. So that's one reason we were looking, when we were doing these, we're trying to get people strong in various things, bilateral and unilateral.
And then another kind of thing for vertical pressing that we like is if I'm vertically pressing, say, Tommy with his 45 pounds, well, is that at least 2/3 of what he would press horizontally with a dumbbell, So wherever you're at on that good, great, elite spectrum, or is your vertical press about 2/3 of what you would press horizontally? It kind of shows a nice balanced shoulder.
And for you males out there, I said I would stress you guys go ahead and test yourself on that. See where you are. If you're not there, let's fix it ASAP.
Most males love bench pressing and have not pressed overhead much, relatively. I was that way for a very long time, and I'm still catching up. Rowing, so doing a one-arm dumbbell row. This pattern we tend to like in a little higher rep range, so we put an 8-rep set here for this one. Good female to male, 20 to 33%. Great, 30 and 50%. Elite, 40 and 60%.
And what position are you talking about with this? This is one-arm row.
Any of your more stable one-arm rows, there's some that are like super hard, you wouldn't be able to do very much, but a hand and knee on the bench is probably your most classic, most stable one-arm row. Feet on the floor, one arm on the bench, maybe a little less stable, but we're kind of still in the same ballpark. Other positions we might put you in might challenge you more in other ways, but not really be your truest expression of your one-arm rowing strength.
Yeah, and there's not a ton of body language in this. There's not a big heave and hoe. Can I stay relatively stable and just mainly move from that arm and that shoulder blade? A little bit of rotation is there, but again, within reason. These are just to give us some benchmarks to work on being relatively balanced, anterior, posterior, pushing and pulling. Cool. So Tommy here would be 60 pounds, 90 pounds, and then a 110-pound dumbbell.
Killing it, Tommy. Killing it. All right. And then our last pattern here, just more of a global full body strength with our carry. Okay, so just can I pick up weight and walk with it now? So can I walk for 1 minute, holding weight in my hands? Good for females being 0.5 body weight, 50%, and males 75% of their body weight in total load, combined load of your 2 kettlebells or dumbbells. Great being 75% for females and 1% for males. I had a mid-70s female hit this great marker just yesterday, which
Sweet.
Fired me up. And then in the elite section, I'm probably holding a trap bar now. It's a little easier to hold the load when it's one fixed object, but then we're going to bump the weights up to 1 times your body weight for females and 1.5 for males.
Yeah, and I want to do a quick shout out. A lady who just turned 72 a couple days ago did 70 seconds with her body weight on the trap bar. So exceeded that elite. Again, not too many people like her. So that's why I would say she's elite.
Yep. Let's see how Tommy's doing here. So Tommy, for that 1 minute carry, would be holding about 2 70-pound dumbbells to hit good benchmark, 2 90-pound dumbbells to hit the great benchmark, and then like 270-pound trap bar for the elite benchmark. Yeah, so again, these are the only benchmarks that matter. By definition, these are all arbitrary. You could argue that some of these should be slightly higher or lower, but the main point is just giving you an idea, right? Hey, what's something that we'd love to get everyone in the gym to? And then if you're taking it further, hey, what are some possible milestones to shoot for? So in summary, we'll wrap this one up. Again, what's the mission? Get strong and powerful. Wherever you're at right now, keep moving forward. Use this report card as a goal-setting tool and a way to share and celebrate milestones, but don't use this as a foolproof indicator of your health, right? If I'm not at the good yet, doesn't mean I'm weak, right? No, not at all. Like, it's all about, hey, where are you at right now? Your trajectory matters much more than your current fitness level. So if your arrow's pointing up, that's what we love to see, regardless of whether you're walking into the gym for the first time and the good numbers might be over a year away. That's totally okay, right? That's just something that we'd love to get you to, and then where do you want to take it from there?
And then your body thrives with consistency. So having a plan of where you want to go, and then let us help guide you to do that, so we can get these numbers and repetitions. And a common term that people like use is grease the groove. If I want to get better overhead pressing, I need overhead press, and I need to do it a lot. I need to practice that pattern, even if it's not at maximal loads. It's just practicing getting better, getting more efficient through my nervous system, so that way I can express more strength when called upon.
Yeah, cool. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited for you guys to go through, see where you're at, do a little test, and then start figuring out based upon where you're at. Where are you doing well? Where could you use some help and some guidance? And then let's create a program to help you get in that direction and accomplish those things.
Boom. Enjoy.